Welcome back, Tackles and Tinnies listeners. We're here for another episode of the mini series, doing the 2025 review / 2026 previews for each and every single team. We're going from bottom to the top, besides a couple of teams. As you guys saw from our last episode, we did the Penrith Panthers. So go check that one out in YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or go check out the short forms on TikTok. You name it, we're on it. You know the deal. Anyway, kia ora, New Zealand fans. We are currently doing the Warriors team. And for me, tale of two stories for them. I thought, my God, their attacking flair is really, really good on the eye test. And then I actually went through their ladder, and then they scored 517 points, which was actually the 12th best attack. So that's probably one of the main reasons they struggled overall in the final series. But let's just get through their entire 2025 snapshot for the New Zealand Warriors. So overall, they got 6 with 14 wins and 10 losses with a point differentiation of only 34. 34 points with a point differentiation of 21. Positive. Again, not very good, really. Again, defense, great with 4th in defense, which I mentioned earlier, and 12th best in attack. That's pretty surprising. And I think New Zealand fans or even NRL fans alike, you can probably agree with me that that's quite shocking for a team that's normally known for its flamboyant style of play. Maybe that's a little bit to do with a guy by the name of Lucky Metcalf going down. However, still surprising. It's also worthy to note that you'd think going to New Zealand, they would have sort of a fortress sort of vibe. Turns out not too much the case as well. 7 wins at home with 5 losses and 7 wins away with 5 losses with a home stretch of 2 wins out of the last 5. So again, pretty surprising actually overall when I was going through all the statistics for the New Zealand Warriors in the 2025 season. I thought their attack would be significantly better. Again, probably some things to do with younger players coming through, instability in regards to Lucky Metcalf going out and then trialing some other players in those positions. But yeah, defense, New Zealand Warriors, I guess the tide has turned a little bit there. You guys, again, in the past have been known for your dynamic, off-the-cuff offense. The tide's turned. You're now one of the best defensive teams. You're a top 4 defensive team in the comp. So hats off to you guys. Again, you guys got pretty lucky in regards to the final series versus a rested Penrith Panthers team. Again, what can you do about that? Those guys were extremely good, and you lost to them 24-8 at Go Media in Auckland. Again, no Metcalf, no Mitchie Barnett, a couple of other injuries. Panthers were red hot, ready to go. Can't do much about that. But overall, should be happy that you made the finals, and you're only growing. You've got so many young fellas coming through. But again, tale of two stories. Defense, elite, attack, mediocre. Can that change for 2026? New Zealand Warriors fans, please let me know in the comments. Now, let's get straight into roster movements for the 2026 season. So I'm just going to go through all these names who are contracted. I might pronounce some of these wrong, so sorry, New Zealand fans. I'll do my best, however. So Adam Pompey, mainstay within the team due to injuries. He's there till 2027. Ali Leotawa, he also there 2027. I thought he was very, very good at the start of the season. Had a couple of injuries and then couldn't get back into the team. I would like to see him get another crack for the 2026 season, but guys have to wait to see for the top 17, or technically top 19, which hasn't been confirmed. But again, we'll get to that later on in the podcast. Lofi Khan Pereira, okay, he's come from the Gold Coast Titans. He's signed to 2028. That long-term contract does make me think he's going to get a starting position. However, your backline is looking really deadly and a lot of depth, really. Does he get a starting position? That's a conversation that we'll have later on the podcast. But great pickup, great depth signing, huge, monumental upside with Lofi Pereira. Chanel Harris-Tavita, he's there till the end of this season at 2026. Does he get that starting position? Few guys there now looking to get that 5'8 position, even the halfback position with Metcalf coming back. His position's definitely not safe, but I thought he was one of your better performing players, more consistent players in the 2025 season. Chance, Nickel Clockstead, or CNK, which I'll refer to him throughout the podcast. He's there until the end of 27. Old reliable, Mr. Consistent, one of the hardest workers in the room. Not necessarily anything flashy per se coming from the fullback position, which you would like to see. He's more of probably a good comp would be like Clint Gutherson. However, I think CNK is still a very good player, very versatile, fullback, center, 5'8", you name it, he can play it. Does he retain the fullback position in 2026? That is definitely a conversation we'll have later on because of the guy we're going to talk about soon who might provide a little bit more upside in that position, but we'll talk about that shortly. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, he's there to 2027. Similar to Lofi Pereira, huge upside, probably the best finisher in the competition, particularly diving for the corner. Fantastic hair. But yeah, he's there at 2027. Dimitri Valmunga, he's there at 2028. Huge breakout year from him. Great middle rotation, that third man in after Mitchie Barnett and your captain being on absolute mind blank here. But your captain coming from the Panthers, James Fisher-Harris, should know that. Apologies, guys. But Dimitri Valmunga, yeah, could easily start. Could get a sniff, potentially at a lock position if Aaron Clark was to go down. However, Aaron Clark's definitely a mainstay there. Aaron Clark, we just mentioned just then, here to 2027, amazing pickup, went to an absolute another level when Dylan Walker went to the Parramatta Eels. We're going to talk about that very shortly. Dally medal winner at the lock position. All the flowers to him. Again, I'm going to give him a bit more praise later on in the podcast. Hazem Mellors, he's just got promoted to the top 30. Got a contract extension to 2028. I was actually just watched some highlights. Haven't seen too much of him for myself. But however, big body, formerly a basketball player, which is quite surprising as well. But he's there to 2028. Again, another outside back. Plays on the wing. Good aerial threat. Definitely a lot of competition in those outside back positions. However, definitely a chance for a smoky play if there are a few injuries and a bit of luck goes his way later on. Jackson Ford, he's there 2027. He was a mainstay throughout. Started on the edge and now he's gone into the middle. Prefer him in the middle. Jacob Latham, he's signed until 2029, which makes me think if he's not getting much game time this year, he's definitely going to be getting a lot of game time in 2027. Huge. Okay, he's one of their longest signed players, so obviously that's a lot of faith from the front office and management from the New Zealand Warriors. But yeah, does he get a top 17 or the top 19? Again, we'll talk about that later in the podcast. James Fisher-Harris, again, we gave some roses to him just before. He's your captain. He's your dog. The culture guy, the aggro, the experience to all these young fellas is something that you can't teach. But again, he's signed to 2028. Huge. Great captain, especially while Mitchell Barnett's out. Jai Linan. Sorry if I pronounced that one wrong. Haven't heard too much about him. However, I'm assuming he's coming from your New South Wales Cup team. He signed until 2028. Again, a lot of faith shown from the management from there. Cope Capewell on his last year. So again, finishing at the end of 2026. Does he get another year? There's so many young fellas in this team. I think they should probably give him another year. I think he's earned that. Played Queensland last year, so obviously he's still got a little bit of talent left in him. Super reliable, super consistent, great edge defender. If need be, he can be shifted out to the centres. I hate him as centre, but definitely can be shifted out there to do a job. Kirk Capewell probably should get re-signed. Talk about that later on. Leka Halamasina, better known as Leka the Wrecker. He signed until 2029, same as Jacob Latham. Leka the Wrecker, unreal, fantastic, dominant ball runner, dominant ball at the back player. Great in contact, few game-winning positions and plays that he's done throughout the year. I remember the field goal attempt by Tanner Boyd, and then that got charged down, and Leka the Wrecker just pretty much barnstormed past four guys, literally on the siren. What a performance from Leka there. Yeah, he's a mainstay in that starting team. Lukey Metcalf, he signed to the end of 2028. He's your goal kicker. He's your halfback. He's your go-to man. He's your X factor. Luke Metcalf, all the roses, wishing him a speedy recovery coming back from his ACL injury. Does he start at the start of the year? No. I predict him to probably take until about round 4, but we'll talk about that later in the podcast with the ACL injuries. Mata Nirakore signed to the end of this year, getting older in age, plays on the edge, plays in the middle, pretty good utility value in that regard, still pretty good ball runner. Does he get re-upped again? we'll see. That might be a salary cap squeeze there. Mitchell Barnett, Australian, New South Wales representative, had the ACL injury. He signed to the end of 2027. He should be back near the start of the year, which is good signs. We'll talk about that later in the podcast, but you certainly missed him in certain periods of time. Morgan Gannon, he signed to the end of 2028. Young fella coming through. Potentially huge upside. Does he make a top 19 spot with that extended bench? We'll talk about that one later on the podcast. Rocco Berry, he signed to the end of 2026, along with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Rocco Berry just can't stay healthy. Can't stay in the park. He has one cracking game and all of a sudden he does his shoulder or hurts his knee or has some other ailment. On his day, he is very good and could be starting in most teams. Does he start in this very stacked outside back lineup of the New Zealand Warriors? I don't know. That's a really tough call. We'll have to talk about that one later in the podcast. RTS, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, again, I just mentioned, signed to the end of this year at 2026. I predict him staying on the wing. Definitely could get that center position now that Lofi Khan-Pereira is here. Obviously can play fullback in a pinch. He did so for Samoa and did so admirably as well. Former Dally M, fullback of the year. Yeah, he's a gun, absolute gun. Prefer him on the wing. That's going to be an interesting conversation later on the podcast. Guys, I probably want to hear from you in regards to this one. Where do you see Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's position for the 2026 season? Do you want him on the wing still? Do you reckon he shifts into the centers with DWZ and Lofi going to the wing? Or do you see him going to the fullback position to get a little bit more maybe attacking upside? You let me know in the comments. Sam Healy, he signed at the end of 2027. Smoky utility value there as well. A lot of faith, them obviously given that extension as well. Great position there. This is probably the biggest talking point out of all these contracts. One, if he doesn't get re-signed, does he leave? Two, if he does get that starting spot, do they re-up him? This man is the name of Tane Tuapiki. Has really struggled to crack this team, has had injuries when he's had the opportunity to actually get that position to come in. He signed till the end of 2026. I think he should start at fullback. Personally, I think he should start at fullback. He has more attacking upside. I'm going to talk about the comps in regards to similar-esque players later on the podcast, why I think he could be a start at fullback. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. That's a big talking point. Tane Tuapiki, should he start at fullback over Chance Nickel-Clockstead / RTS? Let me know in the comments. Tanner Boyd signed to the end of this year as well. Plays 5'8", plays halfback. He was a former Gold Coast Titan, so I know all too well what Tanner Boyd provides. He's like steady. He's nothing crazy. He doesn't game break anything, to be honest. Very good converter. Don't get me wrong there, which is good value when regards to Metcalf being out. Is he a top 4 halfback? Probably not. Is he a top 8 halfback? Maybe. It's pretty tough. Like, Tanner Boyd's a tricky guy to sort of give an analysis on. He's steady. He's safe. I'd like a little bit longer of a kicking game from him. Again, that could improve with strength and conditioning and off-season reps. Does he start at the start of the year with Metcalf most likely being out? Not sure. Probably not sure. Let me know in the comments, guys. Really tough one with Tanner Boyd. Tanner Stowers-Smith, hope I pronounced that right, but he signed until the end of 2028. I'm assuming he's also a New South Wales Cup guy. Probably won that New South Wales Cup premiership with the Warriors, like a few of the other boys. Obviously, a lot of faith shown by management and leadership, as I spoke about, for some of the other guys who are similar position. Do I see him getting a crack this year? Probably not. But again, he'll be a bit of a depth piece there. Tamare Martin, similar in regards to Tanner Boyd. I prefer Tamare Martin, personally. I think he's a very good chance of even starting at 5'8", alongside Lukey Metcalf when Metcalf is back. Tamare Martin has really good upside in regards to attacking potential. Probably a little bit more controlling of the ball, which might actually help Metcalf a little bit. Obviously, he's played a lot of utility for the New Zealand Warriors in the back half of the season. Can play 1, which he did several times. Played 6 and 7, can also play 9. Yeah, great utility value there. I kind of like him starting at 5'8" personally, but we will see at the end of the podcast. And Wade Egan, super safe, probably like top 5 hooker. I mentioned with a couple other guys in previous podcasts. He's probably in the same sort of realm as a Jerry Marshall King sort of vibe in regards to talent. He's invaluable, though, for this team. You really need him on the park, and he's had so many sort of head knock / soft tissue sort of injuries. You need him on the park to be a top 4 team. But he's signed to the end of 2027. But in regards to the 2025 season, you obviously lost AFB, you lost Jazz Tavanga, you lost Buntia Fowa, who left at the end of the 2025 season, but was confirmed gone. Tavanga, I thought, was a pretty big loss as well. He obviously went to Manly, and AFB went to the Sharks on a big dollar deal there. As I mentioned, I'll quickly rattle off the gains again. So 2026, you got Lofi Khan-Pereira from the Titans, Jai Linan, hopefully I pronounced that right, from the Knights. Morgan Gannon's come from Leeds, and Hazen Mellors come from the Rabbitohs. He was that basketball prodigy sort of coming through. Now he's transitioned to rugby league. Big body. Go check him out. Your 2026 losses. So Graham Tafua, he's gone to the Rabbitohs. Ed Cossey, he went to the Rabbitohs. Freddie Lussick, the Panthers. Bunty Afoa, I just mentioned, he's gone to the West Tigers. Tom Alea, he's gone to the Panthers. And Kalani Going, also gone to the Panthers. They're probably the main guys to talk about. Panthers are poaching a lot of your younger fellas. How do you feel about that, Warriors fans? Panthers have been copying this for many, many years, and you've just won the New South Wales Cup championship, and you have so much depth already, losing a few gun guys coming through, like Kalani Going as an example. Let me know how you feel in the comments. So, how did 2025 feel? Again, I mentioned the defense was pretty elite. Okay, they scrambled really well. The middles were hardworking. A lot of upside in regard to their edge forwards as well. I thought they did well to replace AFB's attacking upside with a steady hand of Fisher Harris, and Mitchell Barnett obviously taking another step forward. Very tough to beat in Auckland, but their record didn't really prove otherwise. Like, again, they won 7 out of 5 at home. Their attack is probably their biggest talking point for the 2025 season. Flashes. It was definitely flashes of greatness, flashes of offensive upside. I just remember more bashing Lukey Metcalf at the start of the season. He shouldn't be a halfback. He'd be playing 5'8", and then all of a sudden popped off the next week, and he's telling all the fans, "Shh, let me hear you, let me hear you." Like, I love that. But their halves combination. So Metcalf with Harris DeVita was a mainstay. Then when Metcalf went down, you had Tanner Boyd and Tamari Martin helping out with Harris DeVita. What is the right combination? Okay, so obviously Metcalf's going to be there, but what of the other 3 boys who are all signed for 1 season only? Where do they? Oh, sorry, Harris DeVita. He's 2026 as well. All 3. So again, I'll restate that. All 3 boys being Tamari Martin, Tanner Boyd, and Harris DeVita, all fighting essentially for the next man up for 5'8". Will they feel more settled once Metcalf is back? Time will tell. You obviously got Jet Cleary coming through the ranks. He's definitely probably not ready for first grade just yet, but he's pushing up the rear. That's another one to look at. Attack. Need more points. Chance was safe, but not gun-ho. They tried Roger a couple of times back there. Probably need more ball playing. Maybe super well at bringing yardage back, but again, another conversation point. Their attack is something that they need to work on significantly. But their identity was their defense. They're a top 4 bully. They looked like some of their better sides in more recent years, particularly like their 2023 season when Sean Johnson was popping off. Good defense overall. Attack was lacking. So that was probably their 2025 vibe overall. So this is where we're going to start giving some roses to some of these guys. So they're overperformers or underachievers who we thought could potentially do better or worse. We're going to talk about both ends of the spectrum right now. So in my opinion, the overachievers, CNK or Chance Nickel-Clockstead, still elite from the backfield, high effort energy player. He's the heart and soul, or one of the hearts and soul of this team. He's a local New Zealand boy as well, which I think means a lot to you guys as New Zealand fans. Yeah, you're always getting a minimum an 8 out of 10 in regards to effort from Chance. Does he have the attacking upside of some of the other fullbacks who are in the top 6? Probably not. Does that mean he needs a position change for this particular unit of players? Maybe. Two other boys who sort of broke out this year, particularly one being Leka Halasima or Leka the Wrecker. Again, I mentioned that one or one of those moments where Tanner Boyd did the field goal, got charged down, and Leka just popped off, jumped like two guys, bopped off another one, and crashed over the try line to win you a game. That was amazing. Monumental upside. He's 500k on Supercoach. Could be a smoky to get in for a lot of you super coaches out there. Can he be a consistent 80-minute player? I think so, definitely. But yeah, all the roses to Leka. Huge breakout sort of rookie season. Dimitri Vaimonga, another young fellow who's come through the ranks. Local boy. Obviously, you have your local boys there. Can play edge. Definitely better in the middle. Love the energy that he brings off the bench. Could definitely start if Barnett or Fisher Harris is out. Does he project to start long term for you guys? Certainly. You signed long enough. Both potential represent players for the foreseeable future as well. As we mentioned before, James Fisher Harris, I thought he was fantastic in the first year at the Warriors. Obviously left the Panthers on compassionate grounds to go back home to New Zealand. I thought Fisher Harris was fantastic. The fundamentals and the stuff that you can't teach, he brought that to the youth of this team. He brought a lot of experience, winning pedigree. Fisher Harris, all the roses to you, my friend. And Mitchell Barnett obviously had a devastating ACL season injury, but when he was playing, he was great. New South Wales representative, Australian representative. Yeah, what more can we say? The 1-2 punch of James Fisher Harris and Mitchell Barnett rival any of the top teams in the comp. And obviously you got guys like Dimitri coming off the bench. Fantastic middle rotation. That only gets better by arguably your most influential, most important player, particularly when a certain guy left by the name of Dylan Walker, is Aaron Clark. He's your Dally M lock of the year. As soon as Dylan Walker left to go to the Manly Sea Eagles, my God, Aaron Clark went to probably 5 levels, not even another. He went 5 levels higher. Aaron Clark, absolute gun, workhorse. Finally, a coach and a system using him correctly. I'm a Gold Coast Titans fan for the people who are just starting to listen to my podcast. My God, it was frustrating. He always had talent. He always had energy and aggression, which you love to see from a middle forward. Desi Hasler played him at front row, came off the bench, played on the edge, just couldn't get consistency within him. Great to see the New Zealand management deciding to put him at lock, let him go, and my God, he was one of the best players in the comp. Again, Dally M lock of the year, fantastic. All the roses to him. Only going to get better with the more confidence and reps that he's going to have in a starting team. So guys who underperform or had question marks, again, we sort of talked about the half combinations. Who accompanies Lukey Metcalf long term? Do you prefer Luke Metcalf at halfback? Do you prefer him at 5'8"? He certainly plays like a 5'8". Can he be like a Jaden Campbell-esque, Jerome Hughes-esque type halfback? Certainly. Love it. But who complements them the best for 2026? Is it Harris Tavita? I thought he was very good. Is it Tamari Martin? Probably has the most upside when he's healthy and playing well. Or is it a guy as safe as houses like Tanner Boyd? Let me know, but there's question marks regarding the halves. Middle consistency, again, you got rid of Dylan Walker, which sort of made things a little bit more consistent. You had guys like Jacob Laban trying to push into that team. Kurt Capewell had to play center for there a little bit. Didn't love that. Mitchell Barnett obviously went down. Bit of inconsistencies in regarding to who was where and what roles they were having. However, your top 4 defense can't bash you too hard. And bench impact. Sort of inconsistent at times. No real game breakers per se. We had Tamari Martin there for a fair while. Very good player. More of a starting player in my eyes. He's not going to be really going gangbusters as like a Trey Fuller or like even like a Tane Tuapiki for more of you local guys. Coming off the bench, certainly can fill a few positions, which provides utility value. However, no real game breaker or charge off the pine. So next up, so for the people who don't know, I've gone through the Fox Sports strength of schedule. which gives you a number from 1 to 17 where you're ranked. So according to Fox Sports, your ranking difficulty for 2026 is 10th. Not good, not great. It's pretty neutral. So teams that you will play twice in 2026, New Zealand Warriors fans. You'll play the Dolphins twice. Should be better. Potentially top 6 in my eyes. Sharkies, they've been a mainstay in the top 4-ish sort of area. They're 4th or 6th. They'll be a tough game. Panthers, top 14. Probably going to be better than last year. Obviously, they were coming last at one stage. Panthers will be a hard double game to play. Newcastle Knights, injuries galore. Culture was shocking at points. Yeah, they've surely got to be better. Dylan Brown's obviously got back there now, which is awesome. That'll be a tough game in my eyes. Broncos, they're the champions. They're the champs. They're obviously going to be a very hard game. Dragons, young forward pack, a little bit more consistency now and who their identity is. Clint Guthers is another year older, however. They've got Daniel Atkinson playing at halfback. Don't know. They're probably a bottom 4 team, but I don't think they'll be a walkover. West Tigers should be better. Again, Benji Marshall's got his claw into the this team. Adam Dewey is now looking like the consistent halfback. Taylor May, my God, he was popping off in the last couple of games when he had the opportunity to start at center. They should be better. Kai Pearce-Paul now there. Guys, I'm actually going to be doing that Tigers review tomorrow. So today's the 19th of January. I'm going to be filming that one with Chris. He's a diehard Tigers fan. It'd be good to have his input on the Tigers. But again, last one, who they play twice, is my beloved Gold Coast Titans. I'm a loyal member there, guys, and every single time the Warriors play the Titans, I reckon, honestly, it's 70% New Zealand Warriors fans and 30% Titans fans at Seabus Stadium. What does that say about the demographic on the Gold Coast? Pretty self-explanatory. But we love you, Wise fans. You bring the energy, and I'll give you guys a bit more of a shout-out. At Magic Round for 2025, you guys were by far the best fans in the whole entire stadium. The energy, the singing, the banter, the patriotism that you have towards your team. Chef's kiss. Well done, Warriors fans. But yeah, back to the strength of schedule. Yeah, few hard games there, guys. There's no walkovers in 2026 in my eyes. So games versus 2025 top 8 teams, you got 10 of them. In games versus 2025 top 4 teams, you got 5. In games versus bottom 4 teams, you got 7. So again, not the easiest draw, not the hardest draw. Again, you're ranked 10th. So it's pretty neutral. So pros in regards to your strength of schedule. You got 3 out of the first 4 games at Go Media in Auckland. Guys, no excuse. You got a chance to start red hot. You need to be going red hot, particularly as you're getting Metcalf and Mitchie Barnett coming back. Post-Origin, you guys play the Panthers and Cowboys, who might rest some of their rep stars. Cowboys have like 5. I think Panthers have about 5 as well. So really got opportunity to get wins against those guys, particularly the Panthers. Now, softish run home is a bit of a stretch. I don't think there's going to be any easy games in 2026 personally, but you got Rabbitohs, Knights, Seagulls. 2 of those are in New Zealand. Who knows where they're going to be? Manly could have Tom Trbojevic injuries. Newcastle Knights could be a top 4 team going off their new recruits. Rabbitohs, can they stay healthy? So many questions. So, yeah, there's so many questions to answer. Who knows, guys? Again, I'm going to say it one more time. The 2026 season, in my eyes, is going to be the closest comp we've had, even closer than 2025, which is fantastic as a viewer, fantastic as a podcaster, and everyone is a winner, including Mr. Volandi himself. And your cons in regards to your strength of schedule, you only got 1 Origin bye. For you guys, you probably want to be playing. If you haven't got really anyone playing Origin off the top of my head besides Mitch Barnett, again, off the top of my head, fantastic. Why are you complaining? You want to be playing every single game that people are resting players. So, in my eyes, not the worst idea. Origin-affected games are Dragons and Sharks. Those guys aren't going to have many Origin players. Dragons, who would they have? Valentine Holmes, maybe a Jaden Sewer. I sit top of my head there. And then Sharkies, probably not Nico Hines. Yeah, that's probably it. So, yeah, not ideal because, yeah, they're going to be pretty much full strength. And then you got trips to Storm at Amy Park and Broncos at Suncorp twice. Big tests. Big tests. You New Zealand fans obviously get to Suncorp. You always do. But again, tough competition against 2 elite top 4 teams. Former grand final teams, I should add as well. Now, This is the projected 2026 top 17. But all my other podcast guys, I've been doing the top 19 and it hasn't been confirmed. But essentially, if you haven't heard, there's potentially 19 players who will be selected each week. So 6 on the interchange, but only 4 out of the 6 of those players can be activated. So, for example, let's say, you got Tamari Martin, Jackson Ford, Nia Corey, and Vine Malga as your first 4 players off the bench. That means guys like a Sam Healy and a Tane Tuapiki being the other 2 players on the bench, they can't play. They would be your 18th and 19th man in case there is foul play with head knocks or any other misdemeanors that would require emergency player to come on the field. So again, I'm going to say the top 19 players because Peter Volandy is pretty confident that this is going to go through regardless of what owners and coaches think. So I'm going to say the top 19, but it will be in the order how they'll be named, which meaning that jersey 18 and jersey 19, if the rule doesn't go through, they're just like your extended bench as per normal. So what I want to see, what I project them to see, I'm going to have a little debate on a few positions because you guys had the luxury of having that. Who I project starting at fullback is Charles Nicol-Clockstead. Who I want to start at fullback would be Tane Tuapiki. Again, we talked about your attack for this year being mediocre. Well, below mediocre, you're actually below par, to be honest, guys. You need more attacking flair coming from the back. Tane Tuapiki is that guy. He is that guy. I think he's ready. Guys. Charles Nicol-Clockstead then would push to the center. So at the center position, I currently got Ale Leotawa and Adam Pompey. However, I would like to see Ale Leotawa and Charles Nicol-Clockstead in the centers instead. So Pompey would then be relegated to the bench. Big body. Could play in the back row as well. And also plays wing. So great utility value from Adam Pompey. But if Tane Tuapiki doesn't start a fullback, Ale Leotawa and Charles Nicol-Clockstead will start in the centers, and Adam Pompey would then be reverted to the bench. On the wings, I've got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck as a lock. He could definitely play a center or fullback. However, I liked how he was used on the wing last year. Yeah, I liked him how he was on the wing last year. One of your best meter readers as well. Great finisher, fantastic step, good support player. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, lock and load on the wing. The other wing position is a coin toss. Okay, you got DWZ and AKP, better known as Dylan Zalesniak. That's a tough one to say. And Alofi Khan Pereira. Okay, both those boys could start on the wing. One of them could start on the wing. Guys, you have so much depth. You have the luxury here. DWZ, arguably, I reckon he is the best finisher in the league, particularly scoring in the corner. Can be hit and miss in defense. That's probably his kryptonite. AKP, arguably one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest guy in rugby league. Also cannot defend, can vouch, Gold Coast Titans member right here. So do they both start on the wings and just go attacking upside? Maybe. Do you probably want that to happen? I don't reckon. I think the incumbent in DWZ gets first crack and AKP will be his backup at this stage of the off-season. Again, we're filming on the 19th of January. In the halves, who I've got is Harris DeVita being the incumbent. Who I want there is Tamari Martin. Okay, I think he's a better complement to the long-term half back, which would be Luke Metcalf. Again, we've already talked about the halves in great detail. So when Metcalf is back, I would like Tamari Martin at 6. However, in the current situation, I've got Harris DeVita playing along with Tanner Boyd as this round 1 5'8" and halfback. Tanner Boyd is your steady hand. He's your goal kicker. Luke Metcalf is not projected back until round 7 to round 9, according to NRL Physio on Instagram. So that's a big note. Tamari Martin might provide a little bit more utility value than maybe a guy like Tanner Boyd, maybe a guy like Harris DeVita. That's why I think he comes off the bench in that regard. There's a lot to play for, guys. Again, it's so early in the off-season. It's pretty hard to get a projected lineup. Any of those 3 boys are fighting for 2 positions right there, particularly until Lukey Metcalf comes back. At the front row position, I got James Fisher-Harris and Mitch Barnett. So Mitch Barnett is projected to come back between rounds 1 to 4, according to NRL Physio. That means I got a guy like Niokore starting at the front row. Okay, I'd rather him come starting the season, give Vaimunga a little bit more time, a bit more impact. Maybe only plays 15 to 20 minutes and then Vaimunga gets that bigger stint. We'll get to that shortly. But James Fisher-Harris, he's your captain. He's your gun. He's your top dog. He's your alpha male. He's the aggressor. Yeah, enough said about Harris. So Mitch Barnett, if he starts the season, gets that starting position, co-captain with James Fisher-Harris. However, I got Martin Niokore or a guy like Jackson Ford could easily be starting to accompany him. Even potentially Dimitri Vaimunga. Again, so hard to tell. You probably want the upside of Vaimunga with more minutes starting. And then you have a guy like Jackson Ford with good leg speed coming off the bench with Niokore, who could definitely flex between front row and back row. Guys, you have so much luxury. It's such a nice thing to say. Like, as a Titans fan, we struggle in certain positions. You've got positions coming out your ass, guys. So you're so lucky. But yeah, Barnett to start. If not starting, I got Niokore or Jackson Ford with Vaimunga coming off the bench. At number 11, I got Leka the Wrecker Halasima. Lock and load, set and forget. He's there all year, assuming no injury. Kurt Capewell, old reliable, veteran presence, steady hand, plenty of experience. Yeah, Queensland representative, can flex the centre if need be in a pinch. Don't like him there, as I said before, but can definitely do a good job there. Those two boys, we very hard push to not be starting for the 2026 season. You do have a guy like Jacob Lehman who signed until the end of 2029, pushing for Kurt Capewell's position. We'll see how they go. At number 13, gave him plenty of roses. I'm going to give him some more roses right now. We got Aaron Clark. He's a Dally M lock of the year. Great leg speed. Finds his front really well. Good tackle bot. Fantastic linkman. He's obviously had time playing at hooker in his past life with the Gold Coast Titans. So he's got that ball playing ability within him. Huge minutes. Hopefully he doesn't cramp as much in 2026. Touch wood. But yeah, lock and load. Now, the bench. Tough. Currently, I got Tamari Martin projected to come off the bench. However, I could easily see a guy like Tanner Boyd or Harris DeVita switch and Tamari Martin getting that starting halfback or 5'8" position. Very tough one with Tamari Martin. Now, if they do the extended bench rule, maybe Tamari Martin has less utility value because you'll be able to have more position-specific players on the bench, potentially. But currently, he's my number 14. At number 15, I got a Jackson Ford. Could easily switch with Marata Niokore. Could easily switch with Dimitri Vaimunga. Two of those three boys will be coming off the bench. The other one will be starting. Upside versus Vaimunga. Veteran presence versus Niokore. Yeah, tough one there. Jackson Ford could easily also be there as well. Then I've got Dimitri Vaimunga as my jersey number 17. Middle forward, breakout coming in my eyes. Yeah, great run of the ball, good leg speed, bit of footwork, bit of ball playing, bit of youth. Youth goes a long way. Another year of experience. Definitely huge upside there. My next bench spot for the 17, I've currently got Jacob Laban. Okay, he's definitely going to be there and about. Again, Mitchell Barnett, sort of depends if he's there or not. I think Jacob Lehman's probably the guy who misses out, unfortunately, at this stage in the off-season. If Mitchell Barnett starts early on the season, if Barnett's not there, he'll grab, or Jacob Lehman will then grab one of those bench spots. At jersey 18, we got two guys fighting for one position here. I got Morgan Gannon and Sam Healy fighting for that sort of utility forward position there. Both guys could easily do a job. Who has more upside? Probably Sam Healy. I would like to see him get a bit more time at hooker. And obviously a guy like Wade Egan not doing so much in the middle right there. Probably better for him as well, particularly with all the head knocks he's had in the past. I'd like to see Sam Healy spell Wade Egan, who will be starting at hooker. And jersey 19, assuming that there is a jersey 19, otherwise he's the next man up, is Tane Tuapiki, who I project going off all the murmurs and things that we're hearing in the media at the moment, Tane Tuapuki will be the jersey 19. However, I would love Tane Tuapuki to be starting at fullback with Charles Nicoll-Klokstad shifting to centre, and Adam Pompey then will be grabbing the jersey 19. So again, I'll reiterate, jersey 19 could either be Tane Tuapuki or Adam Pompey, depending where they put Charles Nicoll-Klokstad and Tane in the starting 13. A lot of variables there. Tane Tuapuki has monumental upside. Tane Tuapuki is like a Sulfalongo, Keanu Keeney-esque type player. He's a game breaker. That's why I'm starting at fullback. However, could certainly see him being, we're down 6 points, chuck Tane Tuapuki on and move Chance somewhere else. Again, we've got guys like, in the halves particularly, Tanner Boyd, Damari Martin, Harris DeVita. Probably one of those guys will be missing out when Metcalf is back. Jacob Laidman, he's another guy sniffing to get consistent minutes in this top 19. Could certainly be getting a starting position if there's an injury. Healy is another young guy, could get another spot. As I mentioned before, Rocco Berry, Adam Pompey. I think Rocco Berry, due to his injuries, probably doesn't get a starting position, but certainly could. Adam Pompey could easily start on the wing, could easily start at centre, could easily be jersey 19. He's a gun. I'd like to see him get one of those jerseys, but could also see him miss out. You guys have so much talent. Hazem Mellors, a young fella I mentioned before. He's come from the Rabbitohs. He's a winger, former basketball player. He's that guy. Fantastic footwork, good aerial threat. Does he get a shot this year? Probably not. Definitely developmental. But yeah, if there's a few injuries here and there, he might get a crack. And again, depending if DWZ doesn't start, Khan Pereira might get that sniff in due to the fact that he signed to the end of 2028. However, yeah, he's rocks and diamonds. He's the definition of rocks and diamonds, Khan Pereira. So again, talked about smoky selections, talked about backline depth. We talked about how much pack depth you have. New Zealand Warriors fans, you have the recipe for a top 4 team. You're so close. So close in 2025. You're only 2 rounds away from getting top 4. Okay, I think you guys will be better from the experience, from the journey, from younger fellas getting more reps, as I just mentioned. Huge upside for this team. Can they score enough points? Now, bigger storyline. Again, we talked about this. I'll reiterate one more time. Fisher Harris and Barnett, they are your alpha dogs. They're your pack leaders. If they can stay healthy for the entire year, definitely see you guys being a top 4 potential team. Obviously, the Luke Metcalf situation, as I mentioned, he's coming back around 7 to 9, according to NRL Physio. Who is his best counterpart? Is it Damari Martin? Is it Tanner Boyd? Is it his current incumbent being Harris DeVita? All very different type of player. I like Damari Martin. Personally, accompanying him, but we will see. And can their backfire be the most dangerous in the comp? I definitely could see them. Like, again, I'll reiterate some of these guys. You could have Tane Tuapuki, DWZ, Ali Leotawa, Chance Nicoll-Klokstad, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. My God, that is deadly. That is a deadly, deadly team. You need points. Those guys have plenty of points. I think Damari Martin also helps you get more points, particularly to those guys. And I think Tane Tuapuki in particular would be more upside in regard to sniffing at up the ruck like a Sulfalongo, Keanu Keeney. Now, guys, this is hard, and it's getting very, very hard as we get to these top echelon teams. But I think overall, as I mentioned in my other, preview / reviews of the other teams I've done so far, the ladder predictor for 2026. So hard for 2026. I'm really struggling. So in 2025, as I mentioned at the start of the podcast, you were 6 with 14 wins, 10 losses, and a positive differentiation of 21. However, in 2026, I see you do slightly better. I think you guys get 5th. Good job, Warriors fans. You're welcome. I'm on the ride with you. I just think you have too much upside in regards to the players that you have. Your younger fellas are coming through. Metcalf's coming back. Barnett's coming back. If Tane Tuapuki gets a crack at first grade, I think he's going to be monumental for you guys. Yeah, Lekka the Wrecker, Vaimunga, Layman, all these young fellas. Wade Egan, if he can stay healthy, another variable. Aaron Clark could go to another level at lock. All the ingredients for the perfect recipe, guys. I do see you guys potentially coming 5th. Your ceiling, maybe third to fourth. Okay, potentially. You're a top 4 team for majority of the year. Should be better, as I just mentioned. However, your floor, again, with the league being so transparent through players coming in, processes getting better, teams getting fitter, faster, stronger, your floor is potentially 8th to 10th. However, your spine is your biggest hurdle. Who's your fullback? Who accompanies Metcalf? Can Wade Egan stay healthy? They are your biggest questions. Obviously, Aaron Clark, done. I think you're doing slightly better. What do you reckon, Warriors fans? Where do you guys predict yourselves to get for the 2026 season? Am I pretty much spot on with 5th place? Am I going a little bit too high, a little bit too low? Let me know in the comments below. And to wrap up the podcast, this is our notorious segment. It's our Cap and Fact featuring ChatGPT. So ChatGPT has asked me a question. Cap or fact, Warriors finished 5th to 8th and James Fisher-Harris leads a top 4 pack, but the halves keep them just outside the real premiership tier. Well, my projection being them being 5th, I don't think they have enough. There's just something there. I think it might be the 5'8" / fullback position. We're a bit uncertain there. It's the attack, guys. You've got to be able to score points. I'm going to quickly go on the NRL ladder for you guys. Raiders, 654 points. Storm, 671 points. Broncos, 680 points. Like, these teams are pumping out scores. Roosters, 653 points. Dolphins, 721 points. Like, you guys are by far one of the worst attacks in the top 10, let alone the top 8. If you can fix your attack, guys, yeah, facts. However, a lot of variables in regards to how you're going to get points. You've definitely recruited well. You've developed your players well. Variables. I need to hear from you guys. Again, this is so hard to get these predictions, get these couple facts right. And I'm going to be clipping myself up by looks of it by the end of this season, because I think I'll be eating my words left, right, and center. But guys, that's the podcast. We're pretty much bang on the 50-minute mark, as we have been for the last few episodes. I want to hear from you guys. I need you guys interacting with me, helps me with the algorithm. I love talking footy. I'm really into my Supercoach. Supercoach officially gets released, I think, in 1 week's time on Australia Day, so 26. We are filming on the 19th of January. Again, guys, so much can change. Pre-season battles are heating up, particularly in the outside backs, particularly in the 5'8" position as well. Like, subscribe, share. We're on all major platforms. Again, helps me, help you. The more recognition that we're getting from you guys and content and feedback, the more motivates me. I'm a full-time school teacher, so this is a little side hustle and hobby. Love you all. I'm filming the West Tigers as well, so again, we're a little bit out of order, but after the Warriors, you guys should be seeing the Cronulla Sharks. I'm getting into that upper echelon of teams. Like, subscribe. Love you all. Happy Monday. Talk to you later.